Yeah, hello, good afternoon and welcome to our today's seminar. Our schedule for today is how I do our firmware update on the GYHM600 or 650. Well, firmware update, why this is needed. Our camcorders are very flexible constructed, and for example today the goal on the electronic is not the hardware itself anymore, it's more software related. Firmware updates we did for you for better performance on our product, which is your benefit on the usage at the end of the day. For example, we start with this camcorder around about 1.5 years ago, and today actually, thanks to the firmware updates, actually you have 3 times a new camcorder, which is good for you because our firmware update is free of charge and you get actually new cameras. So basically we can make a 650, 660, 670, but I guess you get me angry when you invest in the camcorder and after a certain time there comes a new camcorder and exactly there are the features which you like to have. Well, in our camcorder the most new features you can do simply via firmware update. There's another reason for the firmware updates, because we listen from your feedback. So a lot of customers say, can we have this feature, can we have a little bit iris control more there, can we implement something on the autofocus issue, somebody likes it quicker, the other one likes it slower, whatever. So all these such kind of improvement have also been influenced to the new firmware. Furthermore, as you know, the GYHM650 compared to the 600 has IP functionality. So we have different Wi-Fi dongles, we have a new GSM adapter for a certain amount of countries. So they need new drivers, and to implement the drivers, of course, you need to have a new firmware. Because a camcorder of course is not like a PC, so it comes not with a CD-ROM and you can simply load the drivers in like you must do on your laptops. Anyhow, so it's very important that time by time you should have a look to our website, to our support site, and then we show you later how you can go to this and check if there is a new firmware for your camcorder which gives you improved image quality or even new features. Well, in case of the firmware update, then on any products, the most dangerous point at a firmware update is a breakdown on the power during the firmware upload. So whatever you do, you must make sure that you not break the camcorder's operation by a power failure. If you have any worries to do a firmware update by yourself and you are an end user, then please go to your dealer, ask your dealer for a firmware update. I'm pretty sure for a little kind of fee he can do that firmware update very easily for you. Normally it takes you about 30 minutes or less, or 15 minutes to do this firmware update. Well, today I like to show you where you have to take care of when you do the firmware update by your own. Okay, let's have a look into my studio here and let's have a look what is needed, what kind of hardware or software you needed to do this firmware update. So I switch the camera now, and okay, let's go to a full screen here. So you have now a view to my little studio here. So for your firmware update you need a PC, a laptop or a PC, doesn't matter. What is important on this PC is that you have a slot, like here you can see that here is a small slot which matches to your SD card. Well, this is the other part of the SD card. Make sure if you use an empty SD card and there is some operation before you start, what you have to do with this SD card. 4 GB is much than enough. The only what you have to take care of that this SD card should be a quality SD card, means a brand name, and also a minimum class 6 or class 10 type of SD cards. Anyhow, the laptop with an internet connection, but that the internet connection is only needed for doing a download. The SD card. Furthermore, you need the camcorder. Important for the camcorder is that you have the DC plug connected and you have a charge battery. This is mandatory. DC and a charge battery. So let's start at the front end, that you want to have, of course, a new firmware directly downloaded from our website. So let me switch to my general PC, so that it's the clock what you see here. There's a PC running, and then I open my web browser, and the first thing what you do, of course, is going here. Let me switch in my face a little bit in there so you can see me there. Operation. Please type in your browser www.gbcpro.eu. Then you're coming to our website. Click any one of these lower windows here like this, and then you're coming to the main page. On the main page, on the top row, you see the support area. Please click here to support, and then comes a request, which is right here, and then you input on your keyboard just the name of the product, in this case GYHM650, which I use, could be all over 600. If you input that, click search, and then you get here a result. Only on the lower you see 650, E or U. E and U is very important in this case. Please use only for the European area GYHM650E, E for Europe. The same for GYHM600, please use E for Europe. You cannot use, or you should not use, firmware which is made for the US market, because then your adapters will not work, the driver will not work, because this is really two different kind of models in firmware for the camcorders. Well, click on the GYHM650E. After that, you see that the page has quickly changed, and then you're looking down, there is product software here on part number 4. I hope you can see this. You click product software, and then you can see this is the new firmware. And also when you have a new firmware, you get a small description what kind of updates or improvements or even bug fixes will be done by our factory and our software development. Anyhow, for your information, the latest software, this is actually up to date, is the version 2.06. Later on I show you on the camcorder how you can see your software version in the camcorder. Anyhow, 2.06 is the latest firmware. Well, click on the file, and then you have to register. Please put in your name and contact data. Don't worry, it's not for marketing. Don't worry, you don't get any newsletters from us for this one. This is for us, for the service issue, to know who is downloading the software in the case there could be a problem, whatever. So we have a choice to give you a message and say, take care of it, please visit the site again and download it in another version or whatever. This is just for our own internal service reference. So after that, you download the file. So let me quickly close this page. There we go. So, and after downloading, you have the file as a compressed file on your PC. Well, let's have a look how this looks on the PC quickly. I switch here to the side panel. Let's have here. Let me move the camcorder here a little bit on my laptop. I already prepared this. So, for example, I have that here on the folder. So here you can see this is the downloaded file. This is a zip file. And after that, you go with your mouse over there, right mouse button. Okay, make it a little smaller. And then you must extract. I use 7-zip for this one, or extract in your Windows. That is automatic with your Windows. Extract the file, and then you get a new folder here. And then you have the basic work already made the preparation on your laptop. Well, let's go to the next step. That's the laptop. The file is there, so basically we're happy we have the firmware on our PC. Now we have to look to the camcorder. Well, you remember I talked about the SD card. This could be already a used one, or maybe you have a brand new one. Anyhow, on these cards, and I hope I can show you this here on the, let me do a quick screening like this way. This way, put it here. Let me show if I can move that up and have a close look to the SD card. Here we go. So let's go a little bit away. There we are. So you can see there is a small yellow dot here, which is a lock. Make sure that the SD card is unlocked, is not locked, otherwise you could not read or format or anything else. In the case it's already an used SD card. If that is a brand new card, if even it's used, it's already formatted. Please, before we can copy the files from our PC to this SD card, you have to format this SD card, but not on your laptop. Please format this SD card in your camcorder. So, then let's look to this, and let me move to the slot of the camcorder, and I open the back slot here. Here we are. You see there is already an SD card here on the top, already an SD card in. Make sure that you remove the SD card. Take your new one here, edit it into the slot, A or B, doesn't matter. And now you go to the menu of the camcorder, and I switch that on here, and let me allow you to show you the menu option here. Doing this for you. Well, here we go. So, and now the SD card is into the camcorder. You go to, with the cursor key and the menu key, you press menu, then you go down to the system, go down to media, and say format. You see I have only this SD card in, it's in slot A. Press OK. See, there's some content, I don't care. So please format, and now the SD card will be formatted. Well, you see it's finished. It's very easy to do. Go out of the menu. That's done. And now we simply go back to the end bottom, remove the SD card, and that's it. Well, make sure after that you switch off the camcorder. Camcorder should be complete off. Well, let's go to our next operation. We take this SD card already formatted into the camcorder. We put that now into the slot of my laptop. Now it's in, and let's have a close look to my laptop. I give you the image here, right there. You can see Windows is already give you a message that the new card is in. Let's have a quick look to this card. When we open the folder of this card, you immediately see this is the drive here on the low end. This is the new SD card. And this is the folder you find on this SD card. It's called private. Anyhow, please go back to the area where you have downloaded your files, like here. Go into on your PC, open this folder, open the next folder, and then also you can see a private folder. In addition, there's a site information. You see here some help information. There's also a description in English how you do this firmware update. But I think when you listen to this video, it's much better and much easier to understand instead of reading the paper there. So what you have to do is select the private folder, click right button, don't open it, and say copy. This is my copy. Then you go to the SD card, and where the private is, go in here, click the right mouse button and say paste. And now it will be pasted. Of course, the Windows system see that there is already a private folder on your SD card, but don't care, say override it. And now the software will be written to the SD card. Well, that's finished. Let's remove the SD card. Well, our software is now ready here on the unit. Let's have a look which kind of buttons and which operation we must use now on the camcorder. So let me bring in the camcorder for you here on the top side. I go a little bit back here. And let me move the camcorder a little bit down. This. Go a little bit closer to the camcorder. Here we are. Okay. So again, what we need now before we already prepared the SD card. So our laptop or our PC is not needed anymore. Software is already here on the card. Well, again, make sure you have a full charge battery attached. Make sure your DC cable is also connected. And this is very important when you use your DC cable with the AC adapter. Make sure that it is right plugged in your AC power plugs. You know, the worst thing in what could happen if you do that at home, maybe on the kitchen table, whatever, your children are running cross and disconnect the AC power plug, which is then a real problem. Well, it's not a problem in our case because we make some security, because we already have our battery here, and it takes, in such cases, the battery make the helping power. So therefore, the battery should be charged before you do the update. Well, what kind of buttons I use for the update? I will use, during my presentation, this button which called Push Auto, directly under the slider here for the autofocus and manual focus button. Directly under this. This is the push button. Don't mix that with this push button. Both have the same name, but we're using only this. We're using the menu button here, and we will using the power on slider. For the information of the firmware update, this LCD viewfinder is not in use. So don't worry, this will be black. All the information for the firmware update you only will see on the viewfinder, not on the LCD, on the viewfinder. In my case, I have connected an external output here so that I can show you the update procedure here on this training session. But you at home have only the information here. That's the most people which makes a mistake. They're starting the upload process, recognize there is no image, and then they break the operation of firmware update, which could cause damage of the camcorder. And it's not possible that you can do any repair of that. The camcorder needs to come to us then. But actually it's not needed when you read the instruction carefully or you listen to this video. Again, all information will be there, never there. For the menu operation, whatever, I will use the menu bottom, the cursor bottom here, or here on this side there is also menu bottom and the cursor bottom. So let's start with the firmware updates, and we need to bring the camera in this status, in this firmware updated status. So, and I hope you can see that, and I'll take again the camera a little bit closer. And I will demonstrate you when you do a mistake. For example, you forget to attach the battery. So what happens? What kind of information will come up? Well, I hope you can see here the LCD viewfinder. There it is. So what we have to do to start the firmware update process, take one of your fingers, push this button, which is the push outer button. Okay, let me bring it a little bit more closer. Here we go. Push the menu button and take both fingers and press both. During your pressing this button and this button, at the same time you move the slider up. Now the camcorder is on, but don't release your fingers. Keep your fingers there. And then the display should light up, and then it gets dark, which takes you around about 10 seconds, and after that you can remove. Now your information is here on the viewfinder. Let's have a look. I switch my image to this source. You can see now this is the information here which you see on the viewfinder. And you can already see you get an error message here. You see a firmware update. You can see the current firmware, version 205, and you get a message, please plug AC and battery. Well, let's move the battery in. And if the battery is in, the camcorder will recognize it. So now we are ready to go. And it's quite as easy as it is. The camcorder tells you, please insert the update media in slot B. Here is our update media, here is our slot, here is our slot B. Put it into the slot B, and then immediately you can see it's red blinking, then green, and you see automatically the firmware update starts to work. And now it's very important, don't break it. Don't remove the power, otherwise your camera will be damaged. This is the only critical phase. But again, if you have a sure DC connection and the battery charged, normally no worries, easy to go. Well, that takes a few moments. Let me make a short review on this, what I did already at the moment. We go to the website, to the GBC, gbc.eu, go to the main page, go to the support, input your camera product type, GYHM650 or HM650E, use the E version for Europe, click to softwares, then you will see the software items which you get for the camcorder, including the firmware. Take the latest firmware, register your name, and download the file somewhere on your PC or laptop. Mostly is the download folder on your PC. What you need is an empty SD card. Take this SD card, make sure that before you use that, before you copy the file on it, put this SD card in your camcorder, make media format on this SD card. Then take this SD card to your laptop, put it in your slot for the SD cards. If you don't have a slot for SD cards, you can buy a simple adapter. It's around about 10 euros. You can buy it in a computer shop, and I can read multi kind of adapters. So anyway, no worries for this kind of adapter to read into the PC. Then go to your zip file, extract your zip file, go into these new folders until you find the folder private. Copy the whole folder private on the root directory of this SD card. Your PC will mention to overwrite the private folder, say yes, and then the files will be copied to this SD card. After that, remove the SD card and then go to your camcorder. If you're on your camcorder, the camcorder should be totally off. Battery is there charged, AC is connected or DC is connected. You push the push auto and the menu button at the same time, hold it, switch on the camcorder and minimum hold it for 10 seconds and make sure the LCD display is dark. It's not on, it must be off. If this is off, you find the information on the viewfinder, remove your hands and everything is fine. The rest the camcorder will tells you, it will told you, okay, everything is fine, please insert this SD card in slot B and go ready to run. Let's have a look what is the status already. You can see that already on your screen. On the top you see we are almost there to have this firmware update. So it's not a big issue. It's not a big issue really to get this new firmware to run. So if the firmware is finished and I switch to the screen of the camcorder, as you can see is still reading and writing. Still the red LED is blinking. As long as blinking, don't break it, leave it run. So it takes a little while. And I'll show you when it's finished. So this camcorder has the version 2.05 before, and now after this update will be 2.06, our latest firmware version. Okay, just a moment. So shortly we'll finish. And as you can see, it's still LCD is still dark. All the information on here. Firmware complete. There is the message. There's the message here on the viewfinder. Inside on the viewfinder, there is this message. There's a screen there. It is in. And also you can see that both LEDs are blinking green. So what you have to do now, first of all, put the slider off. But you still the camcorder gets not to off. You have to remove the battery now. So you remove the battery and disconnect the DC. You see camcorder is complete off. So don't worry about the top screen right now. So your camcorder has now the new firmware. Just everything is off. Simply push back the battery or the DC. Switch on your camcorder and it should be run. It should be work fine with the new firmware. Well, you see the camera is already there. If you want to make a cross-check which actually firmware you already used or which is now on the camcorder, you can have simply go to the menu, and I like to show you this here on the side. So I press menu, I go down to system and simply scroll down to system information. Here is the system information. I can see on the top row, let me do this. Maybe that's easier to see. Well, here we go. Here we go, and you can see here on the top version right there, you can see the firmware version, and of course your running time. Yeah. So this is now the latest version of the camcorder. Well, that's it. Now you're ready to go. So it's actually quite easy. The only thing really you have to take care and make the right copy process and make sure your DC power connection is stable. That's it. So, and of course again, make sure, have a look every, let's say 2 or 3 months, have a look to our website, and you get always improvement or new features. And feature is the right point. This is for the next seminar, which is next week at the same time, 3 p.m. German local time. And then I like to show you in about 30 or 45 minutes what are the new features, where are hidden features, or some tips and tricks by using the camcorder, where are the buttons, where you can find it, where you can do the setup. And as I said, we have a lot of feedback from our customer. We do a lot of improvement into the camcorder, but you have to understand that, and of course, to make an instruction manual is very complex. If you have the camcorder longer time, there is a new instruction manual right on our main website, where you have also the software, the firmware downloads. There is a new instruction manual, but this new instruction manual of course has not everything in, because you know we do update and new features, and there's some kind of tricky hints which I like to show you next week. And I hope you enjoy this seminar for the next week for the, let's see, nice features which we have. But you know, the most people don't read the fucking manual, frankly speaking. You know, even my side, I am autodidact and not reading these manuals. Anyhow, I like to show it, and see you next week. Now, for the next 10 minutes, I'm still online, and when you see here on this webinar website, you have a folder which called DOC download. On this DOC download, I will record this kind of seminars, and I did this firmware update seminar already. So you can have this seminar as a video file ready for download. So if you want to look about this seminar later on, don't worry, go to the DOC download, and normally after 1 or 2 days this seminar will be found there. So there's a reason to go to this website time by time. Anyhow, I did this seminar before, so it's already there. So you go to the DOC download, webinars, webinar videos, and then you find this kind of seminar to look whenever you want it at home. Another choice is we have here a chat box. So if you like, if you have questions, you can use the chat box, or there is a button here on the website which is using for Skype. And even we open a telephone line. So when you're looking to the main page, you scroll a little bit down where your video is now running. When you look a little bit down, there is a telephone number right here in my studio. So I am online for the next 10 minutes. If you have any question, give me a ring, or let's have a chat. And otherwise, I wish you a very nice day, nice evening, and God bless you. Thank you very much, and see you next week, hopefully. Bye-bye.